Sometimes a problem when you've got when you do this walk on like a really sunny day. Sometimes you think, oh, it's going to be a lot warmer when you get down there, but you're out here. I'm out there in just my my t-shirt and shorts, and I've got the wind a bit blowing. I'll tell you what, my arms are slightly cold now. But we can soon solve that. We can soon solve that with a good pace. As we get walking. So, just a bit of the good morning pony for you there. Give yourself a good scratch. But yes, good morning there, Cathode OG. Good morning to you. Oh. Good morning, Fox. Good morning. So, yeah, good morning, Sop. Yeah, whatever. That's the problem with internet names. Whatever. Good morning to you guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, oh my. What a week it's been. What a week it's been. Oh, good morning, Michael from Jutland in Denmark. Good morning to you. Oh, good morning, Patrick from Dublin. Chthonic, good morning to you. Good morning, Michael. Good morning. Yeah. Good morning, Miklam. Good morning. Oh. So I hate having to open this gate with one hand. Oh, Brian, good morning from Ghent, Belgium. Like I say, I was fairly close to you about last month ago when I went to Bruges. Ghent's somewhere I'd definitely like to go and see. Sort of get my, history and sort of, architectural bug fulfilled, as I like to call it. But yes, good morning, one and all. Welcome once again to the, as always, fantastic good morning walk. And, how quickly things change with the weather. It wasn't that too long ago we were out here fully suited and booted with, full coat, hat, wellies, wading through the mud. And now here we are in a shorts and t-shirt, just walking along. And we'll probably be back to that in probably a couple of months' time. But before we get to there, as always, absolutely thank you, and good morning to you all for your watching this morning. Like I say, please do remember to hit that like and share button. Like I say, helps with the algorithmal cool stuff, the hitting the like button, and then of course, the share button, share it to Twitter, share it to wherever your socials, or shall we say favorite social medias might be. But yes, now I've got that out of the way, let's get down to business, because I think it's just worth diving straight into the Tory leadership contest, to be honest. I really do. Oh, Ben, good morning. So Dio Harding is now a non-executive director on our court of directors and chair of remuneration committee in the Bank of England. So before we even start to talk about the very, very looming recession, because it's not just, as a lot of commentators have been saying, it's not just these gloomy predictions of the Bank of England that are sort of talking about it. I think we need to talk about the leadership contest that's happened this week and the ongoings that's happened, because there's been sort of two really big things that sort of happened, and it's very, very interesting to see what the general reaction sort of has been from those two responses. And we'll start off, of course, I think, with probably the most recent one, because I think that'll be still very fresh in a lot of people's minds. And that is, of course, the leaked clip now of Rishi Sunak saying essentially, the quiet part out loud, essentially admitting that he has changed the funding formula to take money from poor, deprived urban areas and give it to the more affluent ones. And I'll tell you this now. The Tories, due to this leadership contest, are basically writing their own attack ads. They're writing their own attack ads. It's honestly unbelievable to see. But there you are. Oh, good morning, Joe from Dublin. Good morning to you. So, yeah, this is one of those situations where you're looking at it and you're like, he's really honestly just come out and said that. And my MP especially, Dan Jarvis was on this, pointing out with that video going, oh, so that's why, Barnsley hasn't got any, levelling up money then, And of course, a lot of people were very, very quickly pointing out that, well, less than a month ago, Rishi Sunak put out his big promotional video telling people that levelling up was at the heart of his government, that's what his government were committed to doing. And yet, here he goes out and just full on commits to just going, so yeah, I'm basically now a reverse Robin Hood. I'm taking from the have-nots and giving it to the rich. And to say that he thought that he could maybe get away with saying that in sort of the age of, the smartphone, is pretty incredible. I mean, a couple of weeks ago we had Liz Truss at a hustings. She got filmed for quite a while, actually. And even though she didn't say anything sort of too explosive, it was very, very obvious that when she realised she was being filmed, she got a bit perturbed by it and going, that might be a problem, So, this, to be honest, if Rishi Sunak was in the lead, I think you would see, or at least be seeing, a massive switch over to Liz Truss. But bear in mind, at this point, it seems the only MP who is supporting Rishi is Dominic Raab. I don't think we have anything to worry about. But then again, it's very, very likely that once Truss gets in, both certainly Raab and Rishi will get the boot from cabinet, because they ain't staying in. Rishi ain't staying in as the Chancellor, Truss is going to come in and install her own people. And of course, that very essence as well, that idea. Remember, Liz Truss agreed to that as well. And I'm very surprised, or I wouldn't be all that too surprised if Liz Truss comes around and starts saying that she was against that in some way, shape, or form, or that, you know, she wanted to speak out about it, but she didn't feel it was her place to, as she's been saying. But yeah, it just goes to show you how bad and awful these Tory promises really were in the first place. That people generally somehow thought the Tories were going to keep their promises on levelling up because of Boris Johnson. Oh, because it's Boris, you know, he's one of us. He'll keep the promises. Like I say, if I were Labour, that clip, I will be making sure that is circulating ad nauseum from now until right through to the general election. especially in any area that has had their funding drastically cut and has been told that, oh, don't worry, the levelling up money is coming to help you. So, yeah, that was certainly Rishi Sunak's oomph moment. But then again, he's getting desperate. And I think we've seen him very, very much falling from being, you know, the guy with the sensible hands, the smart hands, shall we say, who could, you know, steer the economy, into now he is devolving into basically saying whatever he now thinks will get him elected, just as Liz Truss herself is indeed saying. You know, let's go over some of the comments, because actually I couldn't read some of the comments because the sun. Oh, Bakura, welcome. Yeah, that was a great Labour campaign speech from Sunak. Yeah, exactly. Just on it, yes. Reverse Robin Hood. J Clink, can't say I'm surprised. Good morning, J Clink. Stanley, didn't Sunak say basically anyone knew with half a brain what they knew already? We already live in politics times. Apparently, he's just got a standing ovation. Yeah, he did. He did say that. Very, very clear. That was very, very worrying. So, yeah, that's... why does my... I don't know if it was just me or me just staring at the camera, but honestly, my hair looked like it was purple. I'm like, what's going on? So yeah, honestly, a lot of that stuff that they've been saying, engaged in this past couple of weeks, has been absolutely, you know, they've been basically trying to one-up each other in this new game of bizarre one-upmanship. Hold on a second, because we've got to just tie my shoelaces because it's come undone. So yeah, they've really come undone and unstuck because of this. And I think if he was in the lead, I think you'd be seeing a lot of difference, to be honest. Oh, salutations, pretty bird. Salutations, Eddie. Good morning to you. Oh yes, Bakura, I did see that. Yeah, and I see what you've been talking about it. I'm going to try see if I can't get that person you said, whose blog you recommended. What was her name now? Kate something or other, I can't remember. I'm going to see if I can actually reach out to her and get her on, because I think that'll be a good conversation to have about it. But yeah, so that was Sunak's week, essentially. That was Sunak's week. And to be honest, that clip is going to play ad nauseum. Labour should basically just throw, like, honestly, if you're campaigning, just take, like, you know, just target their social media there of all those ex-Labour areas, all those poor Labour areas. Just do a bit of like cut and change with some of the videos saying, so why has, your area received less money? Rishi Sunak tells you why, and like I say, just play that video completely ad nauseum from now until the general election. That's what they need to do. That is seriously what they need to do. So that video is going to see some serious airtime, which is not surprising. Oh. I don't know if you can see him. There you go. But yes. So what about Liz Truss? Well, Liz Truss had her own sort of faux pas this week as well. She announced that her big plan to save money for the government was to essentially look at civil servants' pay and essentially go, well, if you don't live in London, then you don't get deserved. So you don't deserve the same rate of pay as if you were working, let's say, in Newcastle or elsewhere in the country. And well, you can imagine the outcry. You can imagine the outcry that happened because of that. And the backlash from it was so bad that she had to come out and do a U-turn. And she's been sort of really hammered hard by the press on that U-turn this week, especially for saying that. And instead, what she's decided to do is instead say, oh no, I got it wrong, or oh no, I thought that was a good policy, but not anymore. She decided to essentially turn around and blame the press, saying that no, it's their fault. It's their fault for taking me out of context. And again, I don't know how you can exactly take what Liz Truss said in that comment out of context. She basically said, if you're a civil servant living outside of, essentially outside of London, you don't get deserved that same rate of pay. And of course, that's caused a huge uproar, especially from the civil servants. So this is one of those things where I think we've seen what Truss's premiership is going to be like, because I am still, and I've been saying this now, I'm still very, very much like 90% sure it's going to be Liz Truss. I'm only keeping that 10% there because you never know. You never know what could come out. There could be a massive scandal. Liz Truss maybe could have her own, shall we say, I'm taking money from the poor and giving it to the rich type moment, like Sunak has just had. I'm very, very much thinking they are going to anoint Liz Truss as winner. I think at this point it's, contest over. Liz Truss has won. Sunak had that first week to actually, make a distance and make an impact, but he failed completely at the first hurdle. Because of that, Liz Truss has basically just raced away. She's got in and spoon feeding her populism to people, and You may remember from that Conservative Home piece we read at the start of the contest, saying that was begging the Conservative membership not to elect another populist because it wouldn't end well. And, well, they're about to elect another populist. Pretty bird. Oregon has done that with our state's minimum wage. Portland and Salem have the highest wage. The rural east part of the state is lower. Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's massively affecting a lot of stuff in your state. I wouldn't be surprised. Bakura, no one would have thought saying people don't deserve the same pay for the same job was a bad idea. Yeah, exactly. It's too late to start hoping they both make mistakes themselves and both become unelectable. To be honest, Liz Truss is already unelectable. I mean, the second they elect like Liz Truss, everything she's been saying in these leadership contests, is absolutely insane and crazy. I said it just a few moments ago. All the, they're writing their own attack ads with their own words. And, both Liz and Rishi Truss, Liz and Rishi Sunak are both essentially practically signing off on them. They're going to get absolutely, everything. I would be, if I was in the Labour campaign unit, I would be making sure we are at every hustings, every event, and making sure that we've got a camera somewhere in the audience to record as much as possible, and especially Liz Truss if she's going to be the next Prime Minister, because you can get so much good stuff from these events, and then you just play them constantly on a loop. That's all you do. Just play them on the loop. Just point out that, to the Liz, at one point, Liz Truss is saying one thing to her own party membership, promising these, absolutely crazy ideas, while on another foot, she's promising to level up and help out with things. It's going to be absolutely crazy. Still, it's nowhere near as bad as when Gordon Brown said, who was that awful woman? That was horror. To be honest, that was a moment where Gordon Brown shouldn't have apologized. I still think to that day, that was a big misstep of Gordon Brown apologizing for that. Like I say, if you remember that interview in particular, she was spewing off some, basic low-level racism stuff. And he was right to call her racist. He should have stuck to his guns on that, because what have we seen since then? Massive increase in sort of the racist rhetoric, spewed by the general public. So I still think to this day he should have stuck to his guns and just gone, yeah, that woman was racist. And he should have explained why as well. I think that was one of his downfalls, that he wasn't willing to explain why. And again, it all comes back to most politicians in sort of the UK not willing to have a open and honest conversation about the benefits that immigration brought to the UK. I mean, you may remember just a couple of weeks ago, we went over that, the video of, we did the article of someone who was working in the NHS. And about 12 years ago, they were in a conversation with someone at the NHS to say that if they wanted to maintain their staffing levels, remember this is 12 years ago, if they wanted to maintain their staffing levels, they would have to at least be hiring 1 in 2 of all 16 school leavers. I wouldn't be surprised if it's even more than that, you know? And we are entering a massive, staffing crisis because of this. And a lot of people have left because of Brexit. It's still, Brexit causing crises, shock horror, But even this, what Rishi Sunak said, just yesterday, we've already been talking about it. We already did videos about this, and the fact that the Tories were playing this kind of, pork barrel politics game, and yet the Conservatives were just turning around going, no, that's not happening. Well, now you've got Rishi Sunak saying, yeah, it is happening. Proudly saying, yeah, I did it. I did it. So, yeah, above all, it's one of those things where you just look at it and you're like, what do you say in sort of response to it? It's just like, well, the answer's obvious. These places do need money. That's what Labour need to start doing. They need to start going and making the argument, why should people or places like Tunbridge Wells receive extra money and it be taken out of places that you say don't need it? That's the argument that needs to happen. Never trust a Tory. Good morning. Good morning. More people joining us. Good, excellent. Good morning, David. Good morning. Like I say, please do hit that like button. Oh, there we go. So yeah, good morning. So, yeah. There's a serious hang on, that was just don't know if you can see it across here. Don't know if you can see it across there. Hang on, let it get sorted out. You should be able to see the little signets over there. If you can see them, I don't know if you can. Oh, every time it gets washed out. There they are. The camera should settle down. There you go. David, no ponies today. You've missed the ponies so far, unfortunately. ECAS. Maybe the Tories will conclude it's better to call a general election, whilst polling isn't a Labour whitewash. I think they'd be complete fools to call an early election. I really think they would. They've got a massive majority. They do not want to repeat the same mistake that Theresa May made. Because remember, Theresa May came in and saying, I'm not going to call a general election. And yet, all the polling was saying to her, oh, if you call a general election now, you could win in an absolute landslide. I think they know more than ever, because I guarantee you their red wall MPs, especially this weekend, are going to get absolutely inundated, because that's another thing I would be doing if I was Labour as well. Again, I'll be making sure that that video is played all this weekend and linking it to all the sort of, poor areas, and then encouraging them to email their MPs saying, so what's happening to levelling up? Why are you, supporting taking out of money of areas that need it? That's what I would be doing, honestly, because it makes them look so bad. It makes them look so bad. And I will be encouraging them to just get on that, and getting, people in those red wall areas to contact their, Conservative MPs saying, so, why have we had, money taken out of our area? I thought deprived areas would need more of that, more of that money, rather than the more affluent areas. If they're more affluent, let the people of Tunbridge Wells, pay for their own stuff. After all, they can afford it. But in other areas that can't afford it, they need more of that money. And it's also kind of funny that those funding formulas, Sunak sort of got it wrong. While those were Labour formulas, there were also EU formulas as well, because much of that sort of funding basis was based on the EU development funding stuff, the funding grant, allocation. That, the more sort of deprived an area is, the more it deserves the money. And I'm surprised he didn't take that opportunity to sort of have a go at the EU. I am very surprised he decided to blame Labour for that, and not and not the EU. I'd have thought that would have played very well to his Tunbridge Wells kind of crowd. So that's what Labour I'd be doing if I was a Labour MP, or at least if I was sort of Dan Jarvis, I'd be heavily encouraging all of my surrounding sort of areas to start bombarding my Conservative MP, if they have one, and just start going, why have we had money taken away from us? This is not acceptable. You promised, you would level up. Like I say, those seats gonna go back to being Labour. They are absolutely gonna go flipping back to Labour in the next general election. You've basically just seen, what happens if you have a Conservative government. If you've got a Conservative government, Rishi Sunak has basically openly said, we're going to take money from the deprived areas and give them to the rich areas. Why on earth will those areas ever vote, Tory ever again? It's absolutely, it's absolutely suicide for them to even try and think that it's now worth spending money in those areas. Don't get me wrong, wonder what the Hartlepool voters will blame that blamed Labour think now. Yeah, exactly. That will be fascinating, going out into Hartlepool with that video on like a little tablet, playing that to the people of Hartlepool and saying, so according to Rishi Sunak, because again, Hartlepool is a sort of deprived area, what do you think now? That's basically saying Rishi Sunak saying he's taking your money and giving it to more affluent areas. And considering you've just voted in a Conservative MP, what are your feelings on doing that next time? You know, that's what I'd be doing. That's what I'd be doing. I'd be going hard. I'd be going hard on this. I really, really would. But then again, there's probably a ton of material you can use for the next sort of general election from all this stuff. It's just an absolute gift, to the Labour Party to start running all this stuff, saying, yeah, do you know how bad this actually is? Do you know how lunatic, crazy, Liz Truss really is? And then, of course, you've also got the fact that all this populism, all this really right-wing stuff is putting off the moderates. As we've said before, there is a massive section of the country that are moderates that are being put off by this. This is why the Lib Dems have such an amazing chance down south. Mitch, BHM, do you think the red wall voters are aware of this? It seems like they wouldn't be, but I don't know how involved UK voters are. In the US, a lot of people haven't even got a clue what's going on. Yes, I think so. This video was all over Twitter yesterday. It was all over most of the news channels today. I wouldn't be surprised if it's in newspapers today. People are very, very aware, I think, of what was, what was there. And I think it benefits Labour to massively get that on. Massively get that clip played and even, shared more and more. Just pay for it, that ad. Like I say, that money... that video pays for itself practically. Just run that video every time, 24/7. And that's basically what you've got to do. Run it 24/7. Get an email campaign going. Oh, morning. Oh. Get an email campaign going. I think they've got it in the bag. You've been lost. What video? It's the video of Rishi Sunak basically saying that he is, taking from the poor and giving to the rich, essentially. Bukora. Like I say, it was all over Twitter yesterday. I wouldn't be surprised if it's still very much all over Twitter at the moment. Certainly on British Twitter. So that was one of the things that they should definitely play to Mitch. The fact that he did seem very pleased with himself doing it, praising himself for the fact that, yeah, he started all this, he changed the funding formula so that these rich areas can get the money they deserve. Oh yeah, thanks. And again, I live in one of these deprived areas, and I'm really glad to see my MP Dan Jarvis really jumping on this, really getting this played. On his sort of social media. So I'm really pleased that he is doing that. Although that might also be the fact that he's got a new campaign manager, so yeah. Again, I did apply for that job, but I didn't get it. But at least it shows, they've got stuff going on at last. So yeah, I'm sort of pleased for that. But yeah, that is going to pay for itself. And then, of course, we've been spending a lot of time talking about the Tory leadership contest, but of course, we have had the obvious news, because I think it was obvious to everyone that this was going to happen. That we've got a recession coming. And it is based entirely on the Tories' god-awful economic policies that they've been pursuing since they very much came in. And Brexit has contributed to that as well. Agent X, good morning all. Good morning to you. So this is going to be one of those situations where, you know, I've said it before, I think November is when everything just explodes. I really do. And Liz Truss has shown she has no capability to be able to do this. The fact that you've had a Tory government for the past 12 years, the fact that she has been on a blaming spree scandal, where she's just gone, yeah, everything bad that's happened, not my fault, someone else's fault. You know, that's going to be fun, where she starts blaming cabinet members or ministers, and then they start to realise that they are the ones getting thrown under the bus. So that's not going to go well in a couple of months' time, where Liz Truss starts to try and play a blame game of this. What happens in November? Essentially, energy prices will rise significantly. We've already seen the numbers that people might be paying £700, maybe more, on their bills than they expected. So that's going to be one thing. You've got inflation probably going to be on the rise again. So that's going to affect a whole lot of things. You've got a whole series of strikes probably incoming by that point. The teachers are going to be on strike. The barristers, or the criminal barristers, are going to go on strike again around that time over the stuff that's going on in the court system, because that is something that is a crisis that is still not being addressed. Like I say, if you follow The Secret Barrister, you know just how bad sort of the court systems really are. Morning. Oh, morning. You know how bad the court systems really are when you've got courts that are literally falling to pieces. Not enough barristers not enough criminal barristers, because they're all leaving the profession because they are being significantly underpaid. And to quote The Secret Barrister, you could get a higher wage if you went to work at McDonald's than if you were a junior criminal barrister. That area of our institutions desperately needs funding to help sort this area out, because if not, you are denying justice to all those not only all the victims, but all the people in that system, both guilty and innocent. And I think that is in itself a very, very bad, it's a very bad look, to be honest. I am surprised that Labour haven't really picked up on that and haven't, started saying, do you know how bad our criminal justice system is? Do you know what's going on in it? So I'd be, again, if I was Labour, I'd be all over that. I'd be all over that, pushing that. Chris Mack versus Dim Lizzie at PMQs will be catastrophic for her, even with only one question a week. Yeah, very, very true. So, yeah, honestly, we've got to really hope that one of two things happen at the next general election, because, as I said, there's no way the Tories are going to risk their massive leadership. Well, certainly they're not going to risk their massive majority that they have at the moment. Liz Truss is going to stay in. There's no way she's going to, absolutely no way she's going to pull a general election stunt like Liz Truss did, because she's already got, the big majority. She can get anything through she wants. So unless there is, like I said, as we've said before, unless there is a significant, Tory rebellion on the backbenches, which, given the fact you've got Boris Johnson on there, who is going to be, as we've said, stirring up trouble on the backbenches because he thinks he can make a comeback. And that's the scary thing, that maybe Liz Truss completely explodes in November. It becomes very obvious that she can't handle the job that they put her in, and essentially by February, March of next year, we're doing this all over again, because the Tories have completely lost confidence in her. And then, of course, that's when Boris will plan to make his very triumphant return, to the House of, to his pad in number 10. I think that is the obvious, thing that's going to happen, because she is going to demonstrate very, very quickly in November, where all these crises are just exploding all over her, one after another. They're not going to be able to. She's going to show she is not able to handle it, and she's going to surround herself with at least another cabinet who are just as, if not more, sycophantic to her, as Liz, as Boris Johnson was. Then the Conservatives are about to put someone who is so out of touch, so underprepared for what is about to happen. It's going to be an absolute nightmare for her. It really is. And I'm not, and to be honest, I'm not going to feel sorry for her. She deserves everything she gets coming to her. When she's, Prime Minister. And like I say, very, very quickly, the Conservatives are going to be cursing themselves, for putting her in. Hoping that, this was the other big thing that was happening, because the Conservatives were very, very much hoping, or at least the MPs were hoping, they'd get Rishi Sunak in. Especially if you've got a serious economic problem, being heavily foreshadowed, then you would want someone like Rishi Sunak at the helm. But that is not what the Conservative membership wants. They want someone who is going to, I think, described once as, feeding them yuppie beans, making all these, crazy populist right-wing promises. And it just goes to show you how far the right-wing infiltration has been in the Conservative Party. And they are just saying, please give us more, please give us more yuppie beans. You know, that's what we want. But she's not going to be able to fulfill those promises. She's not going to be able to do a goddamn thing. And it's going to absolutely destroy her premiership, you know. She is, I think it was Neville Chamberlain. Was it Neville Chamberlain? Who said, the famous quote, a certain moustache gentleman was, a whirling dervish. And that's exactly what's going to happen to Liz Truss. She's going to be an absolute whirling dervish. She's going to spin herself into such a tizzy. She's not going to be able to handle the job. And it's just a matter of when can she no longer keep the spin up. Just as Johnson was rapidly running out of hot air to keep his own, Brexit promises up in the sky. I don't give her sort of premiership long to run, to be honest. I've said it before. I think in 6 months' time, I think we're doing this all again. I really do. I really, really do. But yes, as always, we are coming to the end of our, as always, fantastic good morning walk. Always nice to have good weather. Always nice to have good weather about it. But yes, thank you as always for coming along and joining me on today's good morning walk. Like I say, please do remember to hit that like, share and subscribe button, of course, as you're on your way out. And of course, there is the Pony Club you can join as well with YouTube subscription stuff. There's the YouTube thank you button, there's my Patreon page, there's all that good stuff. You can help to support the channel. And of course, as always, thank you very much to everyone for joining me this weekend on today's absolutely amazing good morning walk. We will see you. No, we'll probably. Yes, we will see you next Saturday. Yes. So look out for that next Saturday, as always. We might be doing a special stream tonight. I just have to sort some stuff out, but I think we should be able to do it as far as I'm aware. So watch out for that tonight, because I'm going to show you some politics in action. So that will be quite funny if we can get that set up. So as always, thank you very much for joining me on this fantastic good morning walk. Like I say, please do remember to hit that like button on your way out. Please do remember to leave a comment down below after the stream is finished. It all helps the algorithmical concoctions and whatnot. So as always, stay safe. If you can't be safe, be sensible. And all that good stuff. But as always, thank you very much for joining me today on today's good morning walk. It's been absolutely cracking weather as always. And as always, we always say that. I'll keep on saying it. Thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you all next time.